going to get started right here. First game of round 2. It is going to be Komodo versus Clockwork, starting off on tower control on Piranha Pit right here. We're going to see what these two teams elect to bring out. We're also going to be having in the purple right here, it is going to be Komodo, and on the other side it's Clockwork right there in the green. We do see the custom jet squelcher coming out from LSDJ, and he's also in a bit of a 2v1 situation right there. 2v2 now with Hitzel, but it seems like Komodo comes out on top of that 2v2, and that's going to put him in a position to make this early push.
Yeah, Komodo getting the early start here. That is indeed a full wipe force onto Clockwork, so a great start here. I also want to point out that on this mode in particular, the middle portion of the map is cut off. There's a box there that is pretty difficult to climb on unless you use the very small one on the left-hand side. Opie getting a kill there onto Hitzel is the Inkstorm is going to come out, so he has to back off, but gets flanked around by Perps, who's also going to help assist there on that kill, and I think there's only one or so member left alive, that being Lux, currently in a 1v1, as he backs off and attempts to retain as much of his bubble blower as they can. That helps them get the kill onto Ross, and it looks like the tower for now will be retreating back to mid.
Yeah, and that's a very interesting pick coming in from Lux on that bubble blower pick, because this is tower control, so most Flatlings would have elected to go with that Stingray, but maybe he feels like that center area is so claustrophobic that he can get in and put those bubbles up and really defend that tower. So definitely an interesting pick for Lux. We'll see how it works out for him. So far, so good, as Komodo's trying to be pushing forward right now, but finally Clockwork has their number. It is going to be Perps on that Inkjet trying to make something happen here. Maybe get this last shot off onto the other Inkjet, but no, that's going to be actually in the other direction. Opie getting a nice pill as they're trying to move forward right now and defend this push.
Yeah, that was a great distance shot by Opie. And going back to your point about Lux, I think part of the decision there to go with the bubble blower variant to heavy spotting Deco was because of the playstyle that he's attempting to run. He's not staying back. A lot of longer range weapons will sort of stay on that hump over by where Mullen was. But for Lux, he really does feel like pushing in and being aggressive with that weapon is the best strategy. Ross gets a direct hit there onto Lux and is going to shut down any momentum that they had, bringing them down to just their final member, that Rapid Blaster Deco, which does have the Inkjet ready, so you definitely want to keep that member alive at all costs, as LSDJ is going to bring out that Stingray and try and make sure that Komodo has a difficult time getting out of spawn.
Yeah, and look at that. LSDJ's Stingray actually cut them off from entirely going left. Every member of Komodo is currently on the right side of the map right now, so they know where they're going to be coming from. That's going to allow them to pass this checkpoint. Lux is going to be respawning, so he's going to be defending from this left side. Can he make the most of it, as Opie is also going to be helping him with that Rapid Blaster, but it seems like for the most part they're getting pushed back. Only a couple more points separating Clockwork from taking this lead so far. There goes Ross on another Inkjet trying to make something happen here, and he does. Looks like Clockwork might be extending this push longer.
Yeah, and I think Komodo kind of skittish now to go over to that left-hand side. They're all sort of funneling into this right-hand side. That is going to be the lead, and a full wipe forced by Clockwork onto Komodo. So where before Komodo looked very emphatic in game number 1, Clockwork doing great things here as they get past that second checkpoint. LSDJ trying to make use of the incredible range of that custom jet squelcher and has the Stingray still available. So staying on the tower, that's exactly where you want your long-range weapon to be. They can use the pole to sort of back up and keep their body protected, and he'll have to back off in order to use the Stingray. Pixel, though, looking for the flank here, is just avoiding the shots of the Inkjet from Ross, who is able to pick him off as the game expires, and Clockwork able to claim this one.
Yeah, once Clockwork finally got a push going, they were able to extend that pretty much the rest of the game right there. We saw, we mentioned it, started off with DJ Stingray. He cut them off from going over to the left side. From there, they knew everybody was on the right, because I'm sure these guys call it out. DJ calls out everything. He made sure he let his team know, hey, everyone is on the right. Let's focus on the right. They got the picks that they needed. Then when Lux came in, made sure that they dealt with that threat as well, and it turned into a full wipe. From there, it just snowballed to the rest of the game.
It was definitely a great start for Komodo, but they definitely lost their way. I think Clockwork had a great strategy there where they mostly kept themselves situated on that left-hand side, maybe sent Perps to go chase down a couple of the members of Komodo just to get a push started, and then with that flurry of Inkjets, it seems like Ross always had an Inkjet available, and LSDJ did a great job holding on to the Stingray until the exact right moment. So that's what helped secure that final push. He backed off the tower, let one of the shorter range weapons hold it down, try and get a kill from there, and then make sure that the Stingray was available, just because that final tower path sort of makes a C shape. It goes, you know, up, turns left, goes back to where it came from, and then you're done. So as we move on now to Rainmaker Walleye Warehouse, I could absolutely see that custom Jet Squelcher pick coming back. The heavy Splatling, maybe you want to change over now to the regular variant instead of the Deco so that you can bring a Stingray in with you as well. Don't doubt that Lux will bring one of those two variants in. The Tenatech can excel here, of course. It excels on a lot of different map mode combinations, but with how relatively open the middle portion of this map is, there's not too many places for people to hide, and you can essentially hunt them down from the skies.
Yeah, and even with that Tenatech, you have the Inkjet, which is so proficient here in getting to so many elevated areas. We see it all the time with the top players getting up on top of all those boxes and things like that, where they can just rain down a lot of shots, and you can't really deal with them from that position. It comes down to whether you try to approach them or not, and if you do approach them, you're probably putting yourself in a worse position by doing so. So we just saw Ross go absolutely bonkers in that last game with the Inkjet. He can definitely do that once again.
Looking for big things out of Ross once again, but Komodo is hungry to take this game too and tie up the set. Let's see what they've brought with them. Looks like Opie going to be going over to the Splat Roller. I feel like this is a map that does benefit that pretty well. There's a lot of nice long sightlines that you can use to throw that curling bomb in, get straight into the action. We do indeed see the custom Jet Squelcher returning, this time from Lux, whereas we have the Dually Squelchers coming in from LSDJ, who is going to be pulling off the flank. So Hitzel on that NZAP 89 that you pointed out, the 10 missiles will be returning here. Mullen attempting to push very aggressively over around that alley with that Sorella Umbrella, not finding any targets, and all 4 members of the Clockwork team are pushed back up into that left-hand side alleyway, and it seems like Komodo is turning into the benefactor of this opening push.
Yeah, Komodo does have control of mid. The only problem is that they don't have control really of the side, so that's going to allow Ross to really space them out and try and get the picks that he wants right now. He's looking pretty strong right now. Ross is going to take control of their closed area, and they're probably going to push in behind him, but DJ is going to get taken down right away by Mullen on that umbrella, so that puts a stop to that push early. But look, Ross is still camping out that bottom side, has that bomb rush at the ready, so if they're able to get another push going, Ross might be the key to getting that started.
Yeah, the Splat Bomb Launcher needs to use it at the exact right time. They have mid locked down pat, but we see that Pixel, being very, very aggressive, is able to take that special completely away. Komodo surviving 3 members to 1 here as Lux attempts to finish off the final one. Perps, who just retreats back and maintains that splashdown. However, haven't really seen too much of a pusher from Komodo. It looks like this is the first roll in here. They don't have to get very far at all as they're attempting to decide whether to go into that alleyway, which they will. That's going to be the lead as well, and 3 members are still alive here from Clockwork. They're attempting to be very patient and just wait for them to do just that, poke out of that alleyway. They get melted down 3 members to 1. Perps will probably there get a kill onto Lux, and that'll stop that push in its tracks.
Yeah, they got out of that little alleyway, which is kind of a landmark position to get yourself in. It's not the most points on the board, but if you can keep the enemy from doing the same to you, you're going to have the advantage right there. But it doesn't seem to be working out for them right now as Ross is going for a quick push. Opie's able to stop it right there with that roller, so Opie in the perfect position right there, but seems like it worked out perfectly for them. Mullen is going to try and force out Hitzel from his closed area, and he might get the pick onto Ross as well with that relic standard. No chance right there.
Yeah, Mullen really bided his time, waited to jump down from that platform, didn't chase the kill. That's something a lot of newer players do, is just get greedy and try and chase down kills, and they put themselves in a bad position because of it. LSDJ attempting to stop this Rainmaker, but the Stingray is guiding their path. They're looking for an extension on their lead. That's multiple kills, though, for LSDJ, including on the Rainmaker carrier, and that shuts down any potential for an extension by Komodo. So fantastic job from Clockwork, still seeing a tons of signs of life from them. This is an incredibly close game as we're past the halfway mark now.
Yeah, right now they're trying to push it back in the other direction. Perps gets a nice pick to start it off, but look off over to the left. It seems like Ross went down once again, trying to make something happen here, but they're going to have to do it without their Rapid Blaster, who is currently respawning and jumping back in. So it doesn't take too long, but while he's trying to get back in, it seems like Hitzel goes down, and they have to wait it out as they need all 4 members to really make this push happen.
You have to be very, very careful. Opie keeps sending those curling bombs down the alley, and you never know which one is actually going to contain him in that rippling ink. LSDJ attempting to get out of the way of that Stingray, but there's so much enemy ink on the ground that he will get melted. Hitzel pushing forward to get some revenge for his teammate and is able to maintain that map control in the little elbow on the right-hand side. That's your answer to the alley if you don't want to take that path. However, that was a 3-down situation. Ross looking to gain the lead, and he will. Gets onto the tarp path, and he doesn't even fire a shot, but up to 15. That's a fantastic push, and it leaves Komodo only a minute 30 to retaliate.
Yeah, great push from Ross right there. Could have gotten a couple extra points by climbing up that wall, which was painted in his color, so that might go back to bite them in the butt right there if Komodo gets it in the other direction. But it seems like things are working out for Clockwork thus far. they're going to win the 2v2 right there, Ross and Perps. So they've got control completely of the middle of the map, and they seem to be wanting to push yet again.
Yeah, Clockwork not playing this one passively at all. They want to take as much time away from Komodo as possible. They're not even really looking to gain any points. They just want to keep the members of Komodo so far backed off that they lose time on the clock, as we are now under a minute left to go here. They may even let this Rainmaker just sit there and go back to mid if they can pop the shield. Pixel looking for an engagement here with LSDJ, who's going to back off and allow Pixel to regain this map control a little bit in the alleyway. So mid needs to be their first priority. They need to get mid back, expend 1 or 2 specials if they need to, like Mullen is now with the Spot Bomb launcher, and try to get that area of effect back until the final push in the last 10 or so seconds. Then they'll have the opportunity to move forward, as we see a great finishing kill there, and 2 actually, as Perps and Ross both go down.
Yeah, but we saw right there, Clockwork actually pulled the rug right from under them, going from behind. It was, I believe, Ross pushing that forward right there from behind right there. So Clockwork definitely building on their lead, and now it's going to be a tall task for Komodo. They're going to have to practically knock it out right now if they're going to win this game. This is their last push going into overtime right now. There goes the Stingray coming out from Lux. He's going to be hopefully getting one. He does get one in Hitzel, but there goes, I believe it was Ross on that Rapid Blaster, taking him out right there. And that's going to be game 2 going to Clockwork right now. They're up 2-0. And honestly, not many people might have predicted this one.
Yeah, Komodo looking a little frazzled, I think. I've seen Mullen popping a couple of his Spot Bomb launchers. Haven't seen too much of an effect from him. It comes away with a 6 KA. Lux doing a great job on that custom jet with a 14 KA and 4 Stingrays used. I love it on that map and mode combination. But we go over now to Splat Zones on Camp Triggerfish. That is another map where the Stingray does fantastic work. I also see a lot of those long-range weapons set up at the very top of the little bridge next to where the 2 middle paths are separated. And if you're a Rapid Blaster player, if you're a Splatling player, that's where you're mostly going to live unless things snowball in one team's favor.
Yeah, we mentioned it earlier. Splat Zones Camp Triggerfish plays unlike any other map, so maybe this might be where Komodo is able to take them out. This is going to require a completely different mindset in this game right now, and we both know that these teams are so methodical in the way they think about each and every map that it might come down to what those weapon comps actually are going into the game.
And it's these situations where I think Komodo needs to dig deep. If we are going to see a pop-off, it would be when if Komodo is able to reverse sweep Clockwork. But they're looking so great right now. That's just going to be such a tall task. You know, you have people like LSDJ doing fantastic work so far. I think Lux has been one of the only bright points here for Komodo so far. And the members of Clockwork, I think, are beating Komodo at their own game. Their short-range members are being overwhelmed. And just with the team comp itself, Clockwork is giving themselves the opportunity to win. So I don't see that much deviation taking place here on Splat Zones Camp Triggerfish. It's pretty similar to Wally Warehouse. And let's see if Komodo can start to take this one to a Game 5, or if we'll see the sweep from Clockwork.
Yeah, Clockwork definitely coming out with some untraditional comps thus far. Let's see what they go with in this game. They're going to be the team in the purple over here. They've brought back the Rapid Blaster again, but this time it's coming from DJ, not Ross. Ross has elected to go with that Charger, so Ross is going to be trying to make sure that he can control the enemy elbow right here, looking to get in their zone. They've already got one pick actually coming in from Ross, so Ross is looking good to start this game. They forced Lux back behind the wall, and they've got control of both zones. There goes Lux right there trying to make something happen, but Perps is shutting them out, making sure that they can't come in from that wall. And so far, it seems to be Clockwork taking the early lead.
And we also see Hitzel on that Neo Splash-O-Matic. I know he's a huge proponent of that weapon. It's a pretty good choice here for Splat Zones. It does have that Suction Bomb Rush, and is also a Burst Bomb too, so you can get some free damage in on somebody. That's nice when you have a low-range weapon like that you have a sub-weapon that can have an effect on the opposite side of the map. Lux just waiting and allowing his teammate Opie to spawn in so that he can go back and use that Stingray. Speaking of specials, we have Mullen popping yet another Bomb Rush here, but they're getting pretty far backed up into a corner, trying to make something happen, but they're facing a flurry of Burst Bombs coming out from Hitzel, who's just hiding behind that box on the zone and waiting for something to happen. Ross getting taken out there by Pixel, who's melting him as Mullen does the dirty work of actually painting the zone, and just after Clockwork reaches the halfway mark, Komodo will take the zones for the first time.
Yeah, now that's the first time right there. Komodo's going to be in control. They do have a pretty good comp at defending. They have the Brella, and they also have the splash wall of the Squeezer when they try and get into the zone on the other side. So right now it looks to be going pretty well for Komodo, as they might just need a couple more seconds here to maintain this lead, but it seems like Clockwork's finally getting a couple picks and might be able to stop this.
Yeah, multiple specials, multiple stingrays, in fact, on the side of Clockwork. That makes it so difficult to engage, even when you also have specials ready. I know Komodo's sitting on a stingray of their own with that custom Jet Squelcher. Opie having to back off as they don't have much room to maneuver around him. But that's the nice thing about this railing here is that you can use the backside of it, that wall. It is turfable, so you can either take that or take one of the ink rails and get to the opposite side of the map. We are seeing a 2-down situation now for Clockwork, so Opie, a big factor in that, not having to expend the inkjet, and just as he attempts to use it here, will go down to Ross, who is able to get a kill and a follow-up assist with those tap shots at the ready.
Yeah, Ross expertly dodging all those shots coming at him right there with those tap shots. So looking pretty good right there to maintain at least some control coming in from them. He's also looking for a pick onto this Tenatech right here, but doesn't seem to be able to get it. Finally is able to splat him right there. Sees a couple players coming out from that left side, so he's going to pop that Stingray to make sure that they can't come in on him. And that was an expert play by Ross just to make sure they can buy enough time for his teammate to jump in on him. And there it is. DJ's coming in to help.
They have that control. They've gotten rid of their entire penalty, and now LSDJ attempting to avoid the counter Stingray that's coming out on the side of Pixel. Attempting to push forward here and get something going. They smartly throw down a couple of ink mines just to make sure that some portion of this zone remains painted, but Komodo attempting to do a lot of work here to bring things back in their favor. We're at the 2-minute mark now, and 2 members are allocated over on the side of the Clockwork map. It looks like sort of the opposite of what we were seeing at the beginning of the game. Now, Clockwork is the one that's all the way forced back on their ramp, and Komodo's controlled both zones here. So if they can keep this pressure up, if they can build up their specials, even though there's not too much purple ink to contend with, they should be in a good position to maintain this one.
Oh, that was a clutch kill by Pixel right there, almost going down to LSDJ on that rapid blaster. So was able to get that pick and definitely going to maintain the zone for quite a bit of time longer here. So might be able to get this lead, but there goes Pixel actually at the top of our screens going down. There's another one going down for Komodo, and they might be able to swing this in the other direction is Clockwork. But look, the last 2 players are actually on the same side of the map, so they're not going to be able to point the other zone.
Yeah, this one's so close here. We see one zone apiece get taken, and Komodo only 4 points away from taking the lead. Pixel doing the best that he can with that squeezer to try and maintain the pressure on the zone, but they will indeed be given a penalty of 46. It looks like it was just a second too late as the momentum for Komodo and Pixel in particular carries them into a Stingray. Perp's able to take one of those zones again, and as we enter the final minute of play here, I'm not sure what it's going to take for Komodo to win this one. They have the Stingray at the ready. They are using it not quite on the zone, but just to make sure that nobody coming up from the ramp is able to engage. And Perps, one of the last lines of defense on the actual zone itself, they're about to be 2v1, but with that Stingray, it might be able to take them out. No, the double team is too strong, and Komodo looks to be in a good position to take this penalty away.
Yeah, right now Komodo is trying to make everything work in their favor. DJ's going to get a nice kill, though. That's going to allow them to move forward a bit, but no, coming in is Pixel, shooting all the way from the other side. And that's what we were talking about earlier. The long range on this map is so effective because you might need it just to paint out and shoot onto the other side of the map.
Stingray coming out here. This is going to be one of the last-ditch efforts for Clockwork in order to have them maintain the lead. That is going to be the lead going over to Komodo, so if they can maintain this, we will need a game 4. Perps getting a bit of additional damage on there with the Stingray, and it looks like they will maintain control, at least for the moment. They're trading zones back and forth across the bridge, but that benefits Komodo as they take game 3 and survive to force a game 4.
Yeah, we see right there on the right of our screen, Lux actually popping off, pretty happy with himself after winning that game with his team. Now they got some smiles on their face. Looked a little dreary after the last game right there, but and we see exactly why Lux was popping off. He's the top KA right there for his team with 13 right there, definitely holding it down for them. And right now they're going to need everything they can get going into this game 4. What are we going to be looking at right here,
We're going to be looking at Clam Blitz Inkblot Art Academy, and as you said, it's no wonder Lux is popping off. That's at least 2 games in a row where he's been the top of the leaderboard in terms of KA as the longest range weapon there, and one of the longest range weapons in the game with that custom Jet Squelcher. So this map I really do equate to the Museum de Alfonsino from Splatoon 1. You have that really large platform area where you can use your long range weapons to kind of rain fire down onto the middle portion of the map, but the trade-off for that is once you get pushed that far back and the enemy team is on your plat, it's nearly impossible to re-engage back to mid. You usually, once you're in position in mid, have one of your long range weapons set up on that art installation, have them sort of peek out and tap shot anybody that gets too close. Rapid Blasters can do this, Splattershot Pros can do this. Lux's custom Jet Squelcher will be great for that, and to counter that, you really do have to take either just a big team fight, have 3 people with their special ready jump down at the same time, or try and pull off a flank on the far left-hand side alleyway, which which is very, very predictable, as that's one of the only ways to go.
Yeah, can be a very hard map for a lot of teams to get something going here because it's so hard to get onto the enemy plat and make a successful push. But once you get there, you're in a perfect position to lock the enemy out because you can put up bubbles, things like that. Even ballers can get you in a good position there. So once you're there, you'll be able to lock them out and make sure that they can't come in on you, especially as ballers and bubblers will protect you from the terrain.
So here we go. It's game 4. Can Komodo force a game 5, or will Clockwork close this set out? Going to be starting out with Clam Blitz on Inkblot Art Academy in just a moment. So excited to see how much the weapon comps are changing here. At this point, I feel like people just need to go with what they know, and it seems like Lux will be heading back over to the heavy Splatling archetype, this time the Deco variant. And speaking of Deco, we are going to see a Slosher Deco come out on the side of Ross and Clockwork. So they will have a baller at their disposal. Additionally, I do see the gold Dynamo Roller. That's something that can stay on top of the plat, get a ton of map control, and be relatively safe with its range.
Yeah, it's going to be definitely a tall task for DJ to maintain pressure with that. He's going to be up on the stack, making sure that nobody can really get to him right here. And it seems like he's also got the protection of Hitzel on that Zinc Mini on that side as well. So looking pretty good for them. They seem to be all electing to go on that left side is Clockwork right now. Finally pushing up onto the right is Perps. He's going to be able to get a nice pick onto one of the players right there of Komodo right here. And it seems like Komodo's getting pushed back. Pixel's in a 1v2 situation. Dire right now with that Ink Armor up on the other team. Going to get taken down in a flash.
Yeah, I feel like Pixel's positioning was good there, but when you're facing a 2v1 with both of those members having Ink Armor, there's barely anything you can do. Mullen with that baller at the ready, waiting for any members of Clockwork to get too close. We do see that a Power Clam is ready, and that is Hitzel holding onto it. Will get the kill there onto Mullen, so all of that potential built up toward the baller taken away in an instant. Using that Ink Storm as well, just to make sure that they can get some ink on the plat in case they want to push in. Multiple Toxic Mists as well there, just to make sure that the members of Clockwork are slowed down tremendously. LSDJ trying to find a couple of shots here, doing a great job of maintaining control in mid as well. You can see 24 clams to 1 is currently the score as they are looking for that first pop of the barrier.
Yeah, right now DJ is getting a nice couple picks, making sure that he can allow his team to come in, and that's going to be a Power Clam for him as well. That's 2 Power Clams in right away coming in. Perps also has quite a bit of clams on him, but it's going to be pressured from a lot of the players. Maybe Perps just wants to wait it out. He is going to jump back to a teammate and maintain this middle control right here. So good play by Perps, electing to just not play too aggressive and make sure he regroups with the rest of his team.
Yeah, by that point, I think Komodo's already gotten map control back in mid. If you try and force that, you really only maybe get 1 or 2 clams out of it, and that's not enough. Perps does, though, get a couple of kills there onto Mullen and Opie. Lux trying to break that baller as quickly as possible. Ross able to hang around on there and take some of that bubbler away. However, the barrier is going to be broken again, and that penalty is entirely gotten rid of. They throw quite a few, I think 4 clams in there additionally, so they will get past the halfway mark. And now Komodo, the onus really shifting over to them. They do have plenty of time, more than half of the match left to go here, and they need to take some time to build specials and get that map control back in mid, because without it, they're not going to even get the chance to build up as many power clams as they need to.
Yeah, they need to go and give Clockwork a taste of their own medicine. They got the ballers, they got the bubbles, they have the weapons and the specials capable of making strong pushes here, but they can't seem to get Clockwork out of their spawn. Clockwork right now is making a strong push. There goes Ross with another ball right there. Going to be another one actually coming in from a teammate, and this could be the end. One more clam, that's going to be the end. Ross able to finish it with the last clam, and they're popping off right there is Clockwork. I'm sure they're proud of themselves, because especially after day 1, I told you they weren't feeling themselves. This has got to be a huge victory for them, winning against their friends like that.
All 4 members jumping to their feet, multiple hugs going out. I think this is really a confidence boost for them going up against a team like Komodo, which is still not out of it. They do just drop down to the loser's bracket, but it's going to be an uphill battle for them when they thought they likely were at least going to get either to the semifinals or the finals.